Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. So I wanted to make this video to help you guys get some idea of things to keep in mind when you're looking for a job after you're done with your residency training. I know for a fact that that's not something we get taught during residency on how to navigate the job search. So that's why I've created this video. And I want you guys to keep two things in mind while watching this. I'm an internal medicine physician and I work as a hospitalist right now. So that's kind of, just have that in mind, especially if you're doing something different, if you're an OBGYN or pediatrics. I know some of the tips might apply to all, but that's just something to keep in mind. Second thing is that I'm a US citizen, so I did not have a J1 visa. I didn't need to go for a waiver, and I do not have an H1B visa as well, so that's not something I had to worry about, or I wouldn't really know the process if that was an issue. So you're almost done with residency, awesome, and you're super excited to find a job. These are tips that I would recommend for anyone on the job search. You want to decide what you want to do. What do you see yourself doing, right? Do you want to do hospital medicine where you're a hospitalist, or and that can be either a permanent position or a locums position, or do you want to work in a primary care setting, or do you want to work in an urgent care setting? And fourth option would be doing a traditional approach where you do outpatient, and then if that patient of yours gets admitted into the hospital, you do round them in the hospital. So you do both outpatient and inpatient medicine. After you kind of decide what is the thing you want to do, the second tip I'd be giving you is to create another email. The reason I do recommend this is because even after you do find your job, you're still going to get emails from all these companies, from all these recruiters, and it just becomes overload on your main email. Like, I'm 1 year out of residency training, and till now I get like 100 emails by the end of each week, where it's just recruiting companies sending me these job offers that are nationwide. So create another email. That way it'll help you kind of navigate the job search, and at the end of the day, when you do find a job, you can kind of ignore it. Second thing I'd say is apply wide. So apply through a lot of online sites. For instance, ZipRecruiter, there's DocCafe, there's New England Journal Medicine Career, and there's so many other websites. If you do have a certain hospital in mind, I would recommend checking their own website, because I know that some hospitals I did apply through their own website and they didn't really have any recruiting company. So also apply through that if that's something, if that's an option for you. So my third piece of advice would be to apply early. And even if you're almost finishing your second year of training, or you just started your third year of training, which is your final year of residency, I do think it's a good idea to give yourself time. That way kind of helps, eases out the stress, you know? And the other thing is that a lot of great positions kind of get swooped up really quick, so that's one of the reasons why I say it's beneficial to apply early. Now that you applied, you'll start getting phone calls, or you start getting emails about all these amazing positions, and a lot of them will have a lot of statements where it says like, make $400,000 in middle of nowhere, for example. So my fourth piece of advice, now that you have applied everywhere, you've done the email, sent out applications, etc., create a list of things you would want in your ideal job. Kind of figure out what are the things that you're willing to give up if, like, the job offers most of the things on your list except this like one thing. Is that something you're willing to give up? Third thing would be, what are the big no's? What are the things you're not willing to do, for example, in your job, or what are the things that you're not willing to give up? And I think that's very important, especially now that you've applied everywhere. You're going to start getting phone calls, and you'll start negotiating and start figuring out what are the positions that you're interested in. So for example, are you willing to do procedures? Are you willing to do a paracentesis? Are you willing to do a lumbar puncture on a patient? Are you able to do a central line? Is that something you're comfortable with? So, because a lot of, you'll realize that a lot of jobs want that, and then there's a lot of jobs that don't expect you to do that. So you kind of need to figure out what you do want and what you do not want. Now that you've applied everywhere, you're going to start getting phone calls, like I said, you're going to start getting emails, and I do recommend you ask them everything through the phone. And everything, about everything. The structure of the hospital, what your work schedule is. If you're looking for a hospitalist position, ask them how your schedule is going to be. Are you going to be working 7 on, 7 off? Do they have a flexible schedule where you're expected to do like 14 shifts a month? And that doesn't have to be 7 on, 7 off. Even if you do work 7 on, 7 off, are you able to change shifts with people? Is that okay? What's your patient cap? And by patient cap, I mean the maximum number of patients you can see in a day. Are you expected to do admissions? If you're working 7 in the morning to 7 p.m., are you expected to be staying in the hospital till 7 p.m.? Who does the rapid responses in the hospital? Are you supposed to be doing code blues or all that stuff in your hospital? Will you be working with people? Who is the team that you're working with? Is it just you, the patient, and then the nurses and stuff? Or are you working with advanced practitioners? Do you have students that are with you? Do you have scribes? And other thing would be obviously to ask them about the benefits, ask them about the RVUs, which are the bonuses that you can get towards the end of the year depending on the number of patients you see, and ask them about types of insurances they provide, whether it's health insurance, dental insurance, and vision insurance. Ask them about the 401k and if they are willing to match and how much is the percentage that they do match. Ask them about the number of years the contract will be. And the other thing would be obviously asking them about the malpractice insurance, which is a very important kind of touch base on the malpractice insurance because I think people have zero information about that. I myself had no information about what kind of insurance, like there was a difference in insurances and stuff like that when I was looking for a new job. So there are 2 types of insurances. We have a claims-made insurance and occurrence insurance. With a claims-made insurance, as long as you're working with this company, if any patient comes after you for anything or whatever, you are covered. But however, the second you're done working with them, that's it. You will not be covered. So if 5 years down the line, that patient that you treated with that company decides to sue you, they won't cover you. That's why it is very important that you have tail coverage. And that's something that I've mentioned before, like in my IG posts. Make sure you have tail coverage. So tail coverage basically makes sure that even after you're done working with said company, 10 years down the line, that patient wants to sue you, you're covered. You don't have to worry about it. However, if you only have claims-made insurance without that tail coverage, that's a concern. Furthermore, it's very important to know that like if you do leave this company and you go to another company to work at or a different hospital, a lot of them will ask you to show proof that you have tail coverage. The other thing is the occurrence-based insurance, which not that many hospitals have just because it's more expensive. And that is basically you're covered now and you're covered for life. So it kind of has both of them in one, but it's just called occurrence-based insurance. So it has the claims made and tail coverage in one. And you're covered, so you're covered for life. You don't really have to worry about it. That's what I'm trying to say. Another thing to keep in mind, there are a lot of things that certain companies try to do. So like in regards to like tail coverage, some of them will tell you, oh, but you have to work for us for 3 years so we can provide you with tail coverage. I would highly not recommend doing that, especially if you're not someone who has a waiver or anything like that. I don't recommend you going for that or negotiate. I do recommend you negotiate. That's not an option. You get tail coverage whenever you decide to leave. The other thing I do highly recommend is make sure that within your contract, you can leave whenever you want. That's very important. I know I kind of like went on this tangent, but I do think it's important people to know about this And so yeah. Okay, back to our tips. Number 5 in regards to tips. So I don't really know how it's going to be with COVID and everything else going on. I don't really know if people are still expecting you to do site visits or in-person interviews, because I know like for residency and fellowship, they are making everything through Zoom. So if you do visit this place, or you do visit a hospital, or you do decide to like travel to go for a site visit and stuff like that, make sure that they pay for everything. I did not know that, and I paid everything out of pocket. I only found out later on that you're not expected to pay everything. They should be able to pay for your hotel stay, your flight, your like Uber rides, and you getting around, or like renting a car and stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind, and make sure you do mention it in the emails or the phone calls that they're going to be paying you back for that. Okay. Tip number 6: never ever sign a contract that is not reviewed by a lawyer, no matter how much research you do. I did so much research online. I still recommend you get a lawyer to review your contract. There's a lot of terms that are there in the contract that we don't really know, and it's all like lawyer verbs. So I do recommend a lawyer reviews your contract. It'll cost you around $450, especially if you're straight out of residency, but you will sleep soundly at night. And now I'm going to tell you guys some random tips I hope you guys find helpful. Number 1, always remember, if it's not in your contract, it's like it never happened. I don't care how nice the people are, how amazing they sounded. If it's not in writing, it's not in your contract, whatever they promised you, they're not obligated to do it. Number 2, if you are going through a recruiter, never let that recruiter negotiate for you. You do your own negotiations. Remember, every contract that you get, all these companies expect you to negotiate. Whether it's pay or it's benefits, you want something different, negotiate. But never go through the recruiter. Speak to someone directly from the company. Remember that recruiter is actually getting paid to recruit you by that company. So if you're not looking for your own benefit, you kind of have to, you have to do a negotiation, in my opinion. And I had to do that as well during my job search, so that's why I know that. Tip number 3 would be, like I said, I think I'm going to keep repeating it. Let a lawyer review your contract. I think that's very important. I had like these big tips and then these random tips. And so I hope you guys found this video beneficial. I hope that I kind of gave you a brief idea about how the job search might go, or it might help you guys in the future when you're looking for your dream jobs. And I wish you guys nothing but the best. If there is anything that I missed, make sure you mention it down below. And yeah, thank you. I hope you guys nothing but the best, and I'll see you guys in another video. Make sure you guys subscribe and click the notification button, and make sure you like or dislike my video, I guess, depending on if you found it beneficial or not. Alright, take care. Bye.